What is going on, guys? This is episode 17 of Dispersing the Cloud. I am clearly in my car right now, in front of Target, picking up some last minute things before my trip this weekend. And I'm crashing at my buddy's house tonight, and I didn't want to keep his family up, so I figured I'd do it like this. But I got my notes. I'm going to blast through it as fast as possible because we are getting up tomorrow at 3 a.m. And right now it's 10:12. So recap of the week. We're just going to jump into it. Monday we did a Visa commercial with Fragoza Media. And again, Dwyer Productions hired us for that one. So still working with them quite a bit. Tuesday, it just says Tuesday. Apparently I didn't finish my notes. Something happened Tuesday, I'm sure of it. Oh, Tuesday, my dad went to the hospital on Tuesday. So I actually had mixing sessions set up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that week. And we ended up only doing one out of those 5 days because we lost a day. My dad is fine. He had minor surgery randomly, and yeah, we got 10% battery on these notes, so we gotta go. Wednesday, we had a tour meeting. We booked a week of the tour in July, so a week, 5 shows in July are gone. That's awesome. Thursday, we dropped off books at a school. Friday, we dropped off books at a school. If you guys missed last week, I now have 5,000 Josh on the Sock Army books, and I'm starting to fill all those back orders that we had. So if you want a book, hit me up, and I'll tell you how to get that. Friday, again, dropped off books, and close to about 300 that we've dropped off this far from the pre-orders. Saturday, I had a wedding. My buddy Orlando Gonzalez got married. And I got to hang out with a bunch of friends from Fresno, and that was kind of cool. Hung out with my buddy Ryan. We packed all day today for this trip that we're going on. My process for this week, I got some awesome encouragement from the books that I was reading, Traction and Crush It. I'll kind of go over that, but really encouraged this week with finding... really taking the idea of the 4-hour work week that we read a few books ago and trying to put people in positions to help me run the different businesses that I do, because I'm spread super thin and I'd like to do the things I do well, and then the things that I don't do well, like organizing and logistics, I don't always do well, and admin stuff, I'd like to pass that off to people who do well at those things, instead of trying to get good at them myself, just passing them off to people who do really good work in those areas. And so my friend Elizabeth and I are going to start talking about teaming up for the book reading stuff. She also has a book, and it's just part of the process of not passing these things off, but finding partners in these different little niches that I have to help me grow those and widen my reach, I guess, is a good way to say it. Let's jump right into the book of the week. There's 2 books, so you guys request books each week on Twitter. Gary V. Crush It was the one, I believe, that was requested, but I also read Traction. So Traction is by Gino Wickman, and this is basically a great book for anybody who is running their own business on how to get traction in your business to move forward towards the things that you want to move. Let's say you got a business and you're stuck at $500,000 in revenue and you want to take it to the next level, but you've been stuck for like 3 years. Why you're stuck. It talks about the things that would make you stuck and how to kind of get out of that rut, how to gain some traction. This book talked a lot about vision and having a mission that's bigger than anything else. Basically, the mission is something that's going to keep you on course and keep you from getting distracted. One of the other authors that I read quite a bit, I almost said Gary Busey. It's not Gary Busey, it's not Gary V, it's Grant Cardone. He talks about being so consumed by your projects that you don't get distracted by things that get you off course. So you need to have, blank space on the calendar is definitely the devil, according to Grant Cardone. But Gino Wickman points out that with this mission and with this vision that you have for your company, you need to have big mission to keep you in a rut, right? To keep you in a good rut, to stay on course, almost like train tracks, so you don't veer off onto these every little tangents, right? Part of that is defining your target market before you even open up shop, right? So where are they? Who are they? Where are they? What are they? Right? And how do they think? So all of your target market that you are looking at, you want to find out who those people are, where those people are, what those people are, and how those people think. It's a huge part about staying on mission. Each one of my little facets of the things that I do have a mission statement and a vision for it. I'll use my example of my children's book, Josh and the Sock Army. Our mission is to spread the news that even though you have learning disabilities, you can still become anything you want. So yes, we go into schools and we sell my book, Josh and the Sock Army, but the main purpose, the vision, the mission is to educate kids about learning disabilities and help them overcome those learning disabilities, help teachers identify those kids, let them get brave about speaking up. And so that vision, right, keeps me on mission and doesn't get me distracted from just trying to sell a bunch of books, because I could get real distracted and try to go to trade shows and do all these other things, but if it doesn't line up with my mission, it makes no sense to me. This was a really cool story from the book, the donkey story. I tweeted about it and I said I'd tell the donkey story. So there's this lady, and she and her son are riding a donkey through these other towns. They're on like a little bit of a journey or whatever. So they ride into the first town, and the people there are really mean to them. They actually end up stoning them. So the lady's riding the donkey and the boy's leading them. So as they escape the city, right, they've been stoned and really beat up. The lady thinks to herself, you know, maybe those people thought it was inappropriate for my son to be walking. So as they're coming up on the next city that they got to pass through, they're like, well, let's switch it up. So I'm going to put my son on the donkey and I'll lead the donkey. And sure enough, they go into the city and they get stoned again. And they barely escape with their lives. And so they come out of the city, and she's thinking to herself, like, oh my God, maybe these people in this region of the world, maybe they worship donkeys. And maybe it's inappropriate for us to be sitting on the donkey, right? So, I mean, we should maybe carry the donkey. That way we show them that we have love for the donkey, right? And so she and her son are trying to carry the donkey, and they're crossing a bridge as they come into the next town, and the donkey falls off the bridge into the river that it's over, and the donkey drowns. The moral of the story is, if you try to please everybody, you're going to lose your ass. I thought that was a hilarious story. It definitely resonated with me in looking at the different problems that come up with the type of books that I write, the type of music that I do, the songs that I play at weddings and all the above. And you just want to stay on your mission. You want to stay focused up, and you don't have to please everybody. 50% of the world hates you. You're the president of the United States, right? So I thought that was a great point, and Grant Cardone even says that you need haters. You need haters to be successful. Just stay on mission, stay on point with what you're doing. Obstacles out in the open. This is something that I actually got to experience firsthand when I did corporate work. When you're in a corporate setting, a lot of times you don't talk about the obstacles that you have. It's kind of like a faux pas to like mention the bad things that are happening in the company. And Gino Wickman talks a lot about putting those obstacles out in the open and not being scared of them. And as soon as you can see them, then you can tackle them. I thought that was a great point. GWC, and this little mantra, hashtag GWC, is a great way to place your people. Placing your people. Do they get it? Do they get the mission, right? Do they want the position that they're in, right? And do they have the capacity to pull it off? I noticed this when I worked in the corporate arena, and I noticed this when I'm looking for people to work with me. I do meet a lot of people who want to work with me right away, and I'm hesitant because I want to make sure that, one, they get the mission that I'm given, right? Two, they really gotta want this. Trying to make your own path, trying to work for someone like me, I don't pay a lot of money at all. And you really gotta want to do what I'm doing, because it won't be fun, because you're not making a bunch of money. But if it's your passion and you really, really want it, then it might make sense. But thirdly, do you have the capacity to pull it off? Gary Vaynerchuk says this a lot. He's like, not everybody can do this. Not everybody can win. He says it a lot harsh. He's like, some of you suck. You're not gonna make it. Gary V, if you guys don't follow him, he's a hilarious, awesome entrepreneur. And yeah, do they have the capacity to grind through the tough stuff of trying to make your own business work? The last thing in this particular book was rocks. And this is the last story I'm going to tell. And this book was a 5-star book. Buy it, highlight it, use it if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, all the above. Rocks. They tell the story of a glass, and you have water, you have sand, you have pebbles, and you have rocks. And if you put the water in first, right, and then the pebbles, and then the sand, the rocks aren't going to fit. Well, the rocks represent your priorities, the very, very important things that you have to do. They really got to go in first. The rocks have to go in first, and after you put the rocks in, you could put the pebbles in, right? And then after that, then you can put the sand. And then after the sand, then you can put the water, and everything fits into the glass. This is also done with golf balls. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but you can YouTube this little, it's a rocks exercise, or golf balls, water, sand. If you Google all that stuff, you'll find the video. But it's really intriguing of, if you try to do all the little things like the water, the little knickknacks throughout the day that aren't important, you end up getting consumed and you never get the important things done. But decide what your rocks are and get the rocks done first, and everything else seems to fit in your day. And then if it doesn't, then you miss the water, right? You miss the little knickknacks that don't really matter. So 5-star rating for Traction by Gino Wickman. The second book was Crush It, and that's the one that was voted on Twitter to do. I'm looking around because there was a weird dude riding his bike around in the parking lot, making sure he doesn't mug me. So Crush It is by Gary Vaynerchuk. I love listening to this guy. If you don't know who he is, you need to Google him. You need to find out, and you need to check him out. He's the guy who started Wine Library. He says, and this is more, we did one of his books last week, Thank You Economy, which is all about social media and how to use social media to build your own personal brand. Crush It is a lot like that, just kind of continuing on the Thank You Economy. And I really don't know which one came first, the Thank You Economy or Crush It. I think Thank You Economy came on, and then Crush It was second. But really talking about crushing whatever your passions are, whatever your dreams, whatever your desires are. You can definitely do it as long as you are willing to sacrifice a little bit of time, a little bit of sweat equity. You can go into it. He mentioned something right off the bat that was kind of intriguing to me. Telling stories is the biggest part of selling. And if you ever met anybody who's a great storyteller, they're probably a fantastic salesman, because you just want to listen to them, you want to be around them. If you've ever met a really bad salesman, they're just a bad storyteller. They're trying to sell you a product instead of telling you a story of why they should buy that product or how that could possibly relate to you. So that was great. Be authentic in everything that you do. I do my best to try to be as authentic when I do these. That's why I do them live, because if I do, I'm capable of doing a script kind of deal, but it doesn't come off the same way. And then you just don't get to show people your exact personality, the good and the bad. Let's see. This was really cool. Cream always rises to the top. A lot of this stuff that I'm reading off my notes are just notes from my Twitter. So when I do these book reads, I literally tweet anything that pops out in the audiobook that I really, really like and I want to go back and revisit, I just tweet it and then I come back and I put it on here and then I talk about it a little bit. The cream always rises to the top. I said this quote maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago in a video blog, but this was really, really interesting to me. People complain, or if you're going to complain like, you know what, I'm not going to get any money because, or I can't start a business because I'm poor, right? Or they're not going to give me business because my last name's Fragoza, right? Oh, your last name is Fragoza. It's not going to work. I rolled the R to make it fancy. Fragoza, right? Your last name's Fragoza. It's not going to work because they're going to know I'm ethnic, right? Or it's not going to work because I'm a woman. No one's gonna take me seriously because I'm not a woman. Gary Vee says, this is a great quote: if you can't get a rich white guy to write you a check for $500,000 so you can start your $1 million business, the market's gonna kick you in the teeth. Because getting rich white people to write you investments, that's the easy part about starting a business. Whether you're white, black, green, girl, boy, it doesn't even matter. The easiest part is getting funded. The hard part is getting your product to the top of the market. But if your product is good, if your service is good, if you have something that is valuable, it will always rise to the top. It might not happen overnight, but it will always rise to the top. Connor Truth LeMasters is watching. Connor, why are you watching right now, dude? You should be making a list to sell some books. I got Connor trying to book some schools up in Riverside. If you guys want me to come read at a school near you, K through 6, give them my information. Send them my way. We're setting up book reads for next year, so shoot that our way. TV is dead. This is the next one. If you guys haven't noticed, a lot of people are dropping Comcast now, and this book was written a few years ago too. TV's really starting to die. I've talked about this before on my video blogs, but the 4 new stations are Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. Those are the major 4 TV stations, and if you're not on them building your brand in the next 5 to 6 years, you're going to be left behind horribly. It's going away, and it's going away fast. The ability to create your own audience and then monetize on that audience. I was actually just talking to one of my buddies about this as well. He has his own little hunting show, and he's been building his Facebook audience off that. That's the new TV. People want to see personalities. They want to see reality. They want to see people, right? Not necessarily this. Like, I don't know if everybody's going to want to watch me sitting in my car in front of Target talking about books that I read, but there's markets out there for everything. So TV's dead. If you guys aren't on this building your brands for your businesses, you're messing up. If you own your own business, if you work for a company, start building your brand off that company and increase your sales like that. There's no reason you're not on social media all the time. It's free advertisement. It costs you nothing. Back in the day when they had radio and only TV, only radio, it would have cost you $500,000 just to get in the game. Now it costs you 20 bucks. My computer, I believe, just died. That was one of the last things on the deal. Come on, give me something. Give me some love here. Just let me see one little piece and I can... No, that was it. I believe that was the last thing from Gary Vaynerchuk's Crush It. For next week, Mount Shasta. Crush It. 5 stars. Amazing book. Gary Vee blows my mind every time. You guys need to check him out. Next week, Mount Shasta. I'm climbing that with a couple buddies from my church. We are going to attempt to, so we're going to go up tomorrow, hike to base camp, which is around 6,000 feet, I believe. And after we hike up to base camp, we're going to stay there for a day or 2, depending on the weather. And we're going to learn all the safety stuff that we need to attempt the summit. We're going to attempt the summit either Wednesday or Thursday. And again, weather pending, we're going to climb that bad boy. I had to buy some... Oh, actually, I got my boots in here. I had to buy some boots. for this bad boy and throw some clamp-ons on them and an ice pick and a whole bunch of other stuff to try to do this. I'm super excited. I'll be back on Friday. I am gonna read a book during this. I'm gonna try. I have a physical book and I have audio, and I got enough battery to last me on my phone. I'm gonna be filming it. I'll post a video of the trip and all that good jazz. So that's what's going on next week. The book that I'll be reading is unfinished. I can't remember the author right now. It was in my notes. I apologize. But that's all I got for you guys. The inspirational word of the day comes from one of my favorite artists. His name's Ben Richter, and his song, Fear. And the line is, learn to dance with the fear that you've been running from. It's an amazing song about chasing your dream, chasing your passion, and how incredibly frightening that is. How scary it is to make yourself vulnerable, to have to do things like this and let people into your life. And the fear of you putting yourself out there and failing. It was a great reminder. I listened to the song midweek because I was listening to that album again. And when I heard the song, I just remembered how much I loved it. It speaks to me every time. And it's pretty awesome for this trip because I'm terrified of heights. And I'm about ready to climb a pretty big mountain at 16,000 feet. And there are some parts that are pretty steep. So learn to dance with the fear that you've been running from. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I will see you when I am off the mountain. Later.